Hi, friends. It's Joy with In Search of Joy Wellness. Thank you for joining me this week. This week's session, we are going to unleash our inner strength. How are we going to do that? We're going to focus on some core strengthening poses today. So let's go ahead and get started. Grab a block or a bolster and go ahead and place it under your seat. One of the reasons why I've explained before, that's why I like to have a block underneath while I'm seated, is that it really helps the spine stay lengthened and it really prevents you from curving in and having that slumped posture. That's an opportunity with me, and I'm really trying to correct that, and I'm going to correct that. So let's go ahead and make sure that your sit bones are firmly pressed into the mat or the block. Shoulders slightly up and back, drawing the shoulders away from the ears. Try not to overextend the low back by pushing your tummy forward. Really want to make sure that you're knitting in the low tummy. What I mean by knitting in is that kind of like pulling it in. You really want to set that pelvic bowl forward. So one of the ways I think that's really nice to get into this pose a little bit is go ahead and start to over-exaggerate, tilting your pelvis forward. Then on exhale, tilting the pelvis or tucking the pelvis in. And just making little movements back and forth. And as you start to make the movements smaller, you can your body will just kind of naturally place itself in the natural seated position. You're not straining it, it's just natural. Shoulders slightly up and back. Now let's go ahead and take some nice calming breath. So focus on your inhalation, making sure that you're filling up your lungs 360 degrees all the way around, filling the air come all the way down to the deep, deep pit of your belly. And then on exhale, letting all of that air out of your mouth, just completely, not even out of your mouth, just out of your lungs. All of the air coming out, and you can feel the warmth of it coming through, letting all of that negativity out. And inhale again. We'll inhale for 4 counts. Hold and exhale for 6. So inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now go ahead and do this on your own breath. If you can't hold for 4 seconds and exhale for 6 seconds, try shortening it. Maybe hold for 3 seconds and exhaling for 5, or 2 and 4. Whichever comfortable for you. One more breath, in and out. Go ahead and come to a regular breath. Flutter our eyes open. Remove whatever we are sitting on. Place that aside because we might need our blocks later on. We'll go ahead and come into table. The first pose that we're going to do is balancing table. And on our balancing table, we're also going to do movement with it. This will help strengthen the core. It also, not even the core, but also your arms and your legs. It'll help you with balance. So if you start to shake here and you fall out of it, that's okay. This is what we're doing. One thing that you need to do is you need to remember you must lose your balance to find your balance. That's what my instructor says all the time, and I love it. I've used it for years because it keeps me from getting angry with myself when I fall over. So go ahead and make sure that your shoulders are over your wrists are under your shoulders, and you want to make sure that your fingers are spread out long and wide. You want to make sure that you're putting weight into your fingertips as well, so you're not dumping all the weight into your wrists. Make sure that your hips are over your knees. Take a couple of breaths here. And on inhale, we're going to extend the right arm and extend the left leg back. So opposites here. Make sure that your hips are parallel to the mat. They stay in line with each other. You don't want to lift your hip up. You want to make sure that it stays down. On an exhale, we're going to bend the knee, bend the elbow, and bring it all in. Woo. Pushing the ground away. Inhale, extending back out. Exhale, bring it all in. Inhale, reaching back out, really reaching back out too, feeling with your toes, feeling with your fingers. Exhale, last time. Inhale, extending back out. On your next exhale, go ahead and drop your hands and knee to the mat, or hand and knee to the mat. Take a moment here, maybe make some movements. On your next inhale, go ahead and tuck our toes. Make sure our toes are tucked as well. Inhale, reaching the left fingers out, left arm out, and the right leg back. Oh, really feeling this here, keeping your hips parallel to the mat. On an exhale, we're going to bring it all in. Elbow touching the knee to nose. Inhale, reaching it all back out. Exhale, bring it all back in. Knee to nose, whoops. Elbow to knee. Inhale, reaching it back out. Exhale. Inhale. On your next exhale, go ahead and drop the right hand or the left hand and the right knee to the mat. Start building heat right away. Let's go ahead and tuck our toes, and we are going to take our we're going to do our new flow. You guys can see what's going on with that. So on an inhale, tuck your toes, sending your hips up and back. And taking our first downward facing dog for the day. Go ahead and pedal it out. Let's feel into that. Moving the hands, lifting the fingers, maybe moving the heels to one side and the other. Let's go ahead and come into stillness. On an inhale, let's go ahead and take small steps up to the top of the mat, forward fold. On an inhale, we're going to come to Tadasana, so pressing the feet into the mat, slight bend in the knees as we round the vertebra, stacking it one vertebra at a time. Hands meeting above the head. On an exhale, hands to heart center. He was itching my face. Really feel into your Tadasana. Make sure that you're pressing your feet into the mat, all four corners of your feet into the mat, lifting your toes, placing them back down. Make sure that you're not locking your knees back. You're keeping a slight bend in your knees so you don't lock your kneecap. As you lengthen your spine and neck and head up towards the sky, breathe here. On your next inhale, let's go ahead and lift the arms up to the sky, planting your feet into the ground, especially the heels, as we take a seat back down. You want to make sure that your knees are touching and the top, two big toes are touching. Exhale here. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. On an inhale, we're going to come to a halfway lift. Exhale, we're going to plant our hands. We're going to come back down. And however you want to get into it, you can do chaturanga or you can do ashtangasana. Knees down, chin and chest to the mat. Exhale down. Inhale, slide through. You can do low cobra. You can widen your hands and lift up and do a seal pose if you're not quite there, tucking the tummy muscles really tight, making sure that you don't crink back your low back. And those of you who can do regular cobra, you can come up to cobra. Inhale, we're going to go into downward facing dog. Inhale, lifting the right leg up to the sky, tripod dog. Exhale, stepping that right foot in between the hands. On an inhale, we're going to plant the back heel at a 45-degree angle and cartwheel the hands open into warrior two. Exhale, we're going to plant the hands and we're going to come back down into ashtangasana or plank, chaturanga. Inhale, low cobra. Exhale. Downward facing dog. We're going to step to the top of the mat and do a halfway lift. Forward fold. Inhale. We're going to sit the hips down, arms up, chair pose. Make sure that your biceps are alongside your ears, really lengthening through the spine. And on your next exhale, we're going to come to standing and to heart center. Breathe here. From here, inhale. Let's go ahead and forward fold. We are going to step back into, let's go ahead and come into table, and we're going to sit back on our heels for a moment. The next pose that we're going to do here is we're going to do plank. And I wanted to do a modification of plank because I found it really challenging for me to, I put a lot of weight into my wrists when I first started doing plank. I had the upper strength, I just didn't have the strength in my hands. So I want to be kind to you guys, and let's start with a beginner's pose, a modification pose. So let's go ahead and make sure that we're in tabletop. Let me see if I can do this from plank. Yeah, let's go ahead and see if we can do this from plank. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into a plank pose. All right, shoulders over the wrists, wrists over the shoulders. Now what we're going to do is we're going to drop the ankles to the mat on the right side, putting all the weight into the right hand. Okay, now from here you can move your hand up to the sky, but we were going to do a modification, correct? So what we're going to do is we are going to place the left foot in front of you, and we are going to keep the back leg extended long, and you're going to be on the pinky edge of your foot here. And from here, this is where you're going to push up. So you're going to push up, you're going to use your leg as weight, reaching that left hand to the sky, tucking in your tummy muscles here. This will help you feel your body, feel how your foot is supposed to be on the mat, feel how you're supposed to feel like how you're stacked upon it on top of each other right here. Shoulders stacked upon atop the wrists. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry, guys. Next exhale, let's go ahead and drop the right hand back to the mat. And let's go ahead and come into seated on our hips again, on our heels. From here, we're going to move into our flow to the other side. And hopefully I'll be able to give some better cues. So challenging when you're in the poses and you're trying to keep the pose correct and your brain doesn't want to get the right words out. It's really funny. Okay, let's go ahead and come into table. Tucking the toes, sending the hips up and back. Downward facing dog. We can step or jump to the top of the mat. I'm going to step and I'm going to forward fold. Inhale, pressing the feet so much into the mat. Slight bend in the knees, rounding the spine as we come up to standing, one vertebra at a time. Hands to heart center. On an inhale, sit the hips back, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, planting the hands, stepping back, dropping the knees down. We're going to come into Ashtangasana or Chaturanga. Inhale, sliding the body forward. We're going to Cobra or Low Cobra, whichever you choose. And on exhale, tucking the toes, downward facing dog. Inhale, lifting the left leg up to the sky, tripod dog. Exhale, stepping that left foot in between the hands, dropping the right heel to the mat in a 45-degree angle as we cartwheel the arms open into Warrior Two. Inhale, we will drop the hands to the mat, stepping back into into Chaturanga or Ashtangasana. Inhale, sliding through to Low Cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stepping or jumping to the top of the mat. Halfway lift. Forward fold on an exhale. Inhale, sending the hips down, arms up to the sky, lengthening the spine, chair pose. Inhale, come to standing, hands to heart center. On inhale, let's go ahead and forward fold, planting the hands, coming back into table, and we are going to do side plank on the other side. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the right foot, bending the knee, toes pointed out in front of us, placing all the weight on the left hand, arm. You want to make sure that the shoulder is over the wrist, straightening that left leg. Make sure that your foot is on the pinky edge of the mat, or the pinky edge of the foot is on the mat. Extending the right arm up to the sky as you push away with that left hand. Go ahead and breathe here. Don't forget to breathe. One more inhale. Next, exhale. Go ahead and drop the hand and knees to the mat. Let's go ahead and come into seated. How did you like that one? All right, we're going to look at this flow a little bit more, because for some reason I can't seem to keep it in my brain. All right, let's come into table, tucking the toes, sending hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, step or jump to the top of the mat, forward fold, pressing the feet so much into the mat as with slight bend in the knees. As we round our spine, as we come to standing, hands meet above the head, hands to heart center on an exhale. On an inhale, arms reaching up as we take a seat back, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, planting the hands. We are going to come back into Chaturanga or Ashtangasana. Inhale, low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lifting the right leg up to the sky and tripod. Exhale, step it through in between the fingers, dropping the left heel to the mat as we cartwheel the hands open or arms open into warrior two. Making sure that you're in line. Your knee is over your ankle and your knee is in line with the second toe. Make sure that you keep your weight in both of the feet. Our tendency is to come forward. We want to make sure that we stay keeping the hips squared and keeping the weight balanced in both legs. Really reaching out. Exhale, dropping the hands, and we will come back into Chaturanga or low cobra. Ashtangasana. Inhale into low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Stepping or jumping to the top of the mat. Halfway lift. Hold. Bending the knees so much, lifting the arms, we come into chair. Exhale, come to standing. Hands to heart. Take a moment to breathe here. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Planting the hands, bringing the seat to the ground. From here, we're going to do boat pose. So go ahead and make sure that your sit bones are on the mat. Lengthening the spine. I'm going to keep my hands on my knees to make sure that I'm lengthening my spine. Maybe I'll come back a little bit. I'm going to have to use my hands for some support at some point. Ideally, though, you want to lengthen the spine, bringing your knees up, keeping like a nice V here. Some of you guys can keep your legs really strong. I'm not there. I'm not quite there yet. But what we'd like to do is have our legs nice and straight and long. But as we're learning this pose, you can get into it. You get the same effect as long as we keep our spine lengthened, head of the crown of the head reaching up and back. Keeping our calves parallel to the mat, pointing our toes. If we come in like this, you got to come out of the pose. So, exhale. Let's come to seated. Okay, let me see if I can explain that a little bit better. Having a really challenging time, my brain goes blank when I'm holding a pose. So in this pose, what you really would like to do is you want to make sure that you keep your chest lengthened. If we cave in, it loses the integrity of the pose. What we're trying to do is we're trying to build up the strength in our lower muscles, our tummy muscles down here. And when we do that, it helps keep the integrity of the pose and not hurt our back as we keep it like this. Keeping our legs, like I say, some of you can come up straight and do this. I, again, am not there yet. But if we keep our legs bent and keep our calves parallel to the mat, we get the same effect. Exhale. Let's go ahead and do our last flow for this session. Let's get into downward facing dog. Inhale, step or jump to the top of the mat. Forward fold. Inhale, pressing the feet so much into the mat. Hands meet above the head. Exhale, hands to heart prayer. Inhale, arms up, sit back, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold, planting the hands, stepping back, coming into chaturanga or ashtangasana. Inhale, scooting forward to low cobra. Make sure that you're not cranking back your neck. Gaze is heavy, just barely at the top of the mat. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lifting the left leg up to the sky. On an exhale, stepping it through in between the hands, dropping the right heel down to the mat, cartwheeling into warrior two. Exhale, planting the hands, stepping back, and we will come into chaturanga, ashtangasana. Slide through into low cobra, or you can come up to high cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step or jump to the top of the mat. Halfway lift. Exhale, sending the hips down, reaching the arms up to the sky, lengthening the spine, chair pose. Inhale, come to standing. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reaching the arms up. Forward fold, planting the booty to the mat. And we will start the floor face. From here, we're going to do an easy seated twist. And the last time I wanted to show you guys this, I didn't get a good angle on it. So let's see if I can get a good angle on it now. Okay, so extend your left leg long, bringing your bending your right leg and bringing that right foot on the outside of your left knee. Okay? From here, you can stay here like this, or you can bend your left knee in. Yeah, bend your left knee and your left foot will be on the outside of your right hip. On inhale, you're going to make sure that you kickstand your right hand behind you, lifting and lengthening the spine. And then on an exhale, you're going to use your elbow and you're going to hook it on your right knee to help facilitate the twist over to the right side. Remember that the head and neck are the last things to turn around. On your exhales, on your inhales, I should say, you can come out a little bit, and then on exhale, twist even further. Exhale, go ahead and come all the way out. We'll switch to the other side. So, keeping the right leg bent or straight out in front of you. If you do bend your knee, make sure that the knee is like straight out in front of your torso here. Left knee on the left ankle on the outside of the right knee. Kickstanding that left hand behind you on an inhale, lifting and lengthening the spine. On an exhale, hooking that elbow as you twist over to the left. Gazing over the left shoulder. Neck and head are the last two to twist. Exhale. Nice. All right, from here, we're going to do one more boat pose. I'm going to hold this one a little bit longer. Try this again, okay? So, inhale, lengthening the spine. And like I say, if you're new at this too, maybe putting your knee, you can put your hands here behind to help too. See how the brain starts to work? So, inhale. You can place your hands behind your knees, lengthening the spine as you lift the feet off the ground, keeping your shins parallel to the mat. If you feel you have a little bit more strength, you can let go your hands and hold up your chest, lengthening your spine, making sure that your heart is trying to reach the sky. Breathe here. Welcome all the shakes. Those are good for you. Exhale, release. Pretty nice, huh? From here, we're going to move to our backs, guys. We're going to do happy baby. So, knees bent into the chest. As we part our knees, we're going to reach our arms through in between our knees, grabbing the outsides of our feet. Here, we're going to extend our feet up to the sky. You're going to really be extending your heels up to the sky as you're pulling back on the toes with your hands. So you're creating this double resistance here. It's really pulling. I can feel it all the way in my legs. I went on a nice bike ride yesterday, and I'm feeling it in my legs, the tightness in my legs. Placing, you can change this pose by gluing your sacrum to the mat and extending the length of your spine. You can rock back and forth. I'm losing grip on my hands. Rock back and forth. You can keep the legs extended. You can open and close, getting some movement. Sometimes I like to do that because if I bend one leg, it seems like I can straighten the other one a little bit more and get more of a stretch. Next inhale, go ahead and bring the feet in, releasing your legs back to the mat. From here, let's go ahead and lengthen out and come into our Shavasana. Closing your eyes down, feeling into your body, feeling the weight of your head feeling the weight of your head on the mat, feeling your shoulders on the mat, the backs of your arms, backs of your legs. Where is your breath? Did you lose it as you were practicing these poses? Did you find that you were holding it in some certain difficult poses? Yoga is really a practice where we start to learn our own bodies and we can map out things and see certain habits that we do during times of stress. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Bringing yourself back into this moment. Bringing your knees into your chest. Giving them a big hug. You bring your forehead to your knees. Gonna roll over to one side or the other. And use that top hand to push you up into seated. Let's go ahead and come into Sukhasana. Let's replace the block that we were sitting on the way we started. taking some slow breaths. How do you guys feel? Did you feel like you gained some inner strength? I know I got a little bit agitated. I'm sure you found that out. For some reason, my brain and my mouth are not working. They're not connecting, and I can't seem to get my thought into my mouth. So I won't talk anymore during this video. I just want to say thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Leave me some comments down below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I am really looking forward to doing these videos weekly. They're a lot of fun. I've had some challenges. I apologize about the flow in this one. I practiced this one 3 times before I did it, and I'm still having issues with my memory. Maybe it's something going on. But thank you again for joining me. Let's go ahead and bring our hands to heart center. Thank yourself for showing up. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your practice. And let's go ahead and bring our thumbs to our third eye as we bow forward and say, Namaste. Thank you, friends. I'll see you next.